Welcome to the Jedburgh podcast. I'm the creator and host, Fran Racioppi. Each episode, I speak with transformative leaders, visionaries, drivers of change, and those dedicated to winning no matter the challenge. The Jedburgh podcast is founded in the lineage of the special operations Jedburgh teams of the past and is produced in partnership with Talent War Group, a management consulting and executive search firm focused on helping you optimize the people side of your business. We're sponsored by Jersey Mike's Subs. Together, we share the mission of giving, making a difference in someone's life. Visit the Jedburgh Podcast, Talent War Group, and Jersey Mike's Subs on the web and on all social media. A percentage of all proceeds is dedicated to the Green Beret Foundation, supporting America's Special Forces and their families.
When I said infantry, he just laughed. There were no words. He was laughing so hard he almost cried.
Did he think you were joking, or was he just...
No, he was like, you're never going to make it. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. Your 1 rep max snatch does not fucking matter. Can you carry the weight for the distance in an appropriate amount of time? This year, I'm going team again, which is a big announcement because I was going to go individual.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. My teammates are going to be Alexis Johnson, Brandon Luckett, and Logan Collins. We're making a run for the podium at the games.
What does it take to become the world's fittest law enforcement officer? Twice. What about the world's fittest veteran? An FBI agent. For Shaylin Laure, it's all in a day's work. Integration of women into our combat arms branches like infantry, armor, and special forces has redefined our military.
As one of the first females in the infantry, Shaylin had to face all the same challenges and standards as the men, all while overcoming stereotypes and resistance from superiors who didn't believe women could keep up. And she didn't just surpass those standards. She beat most of the top men.
This is absolutely something you know a lot about, Jessie. Shaylin became the first female to win the Honor Graduate Award at the US Army Infantry Officer Basic Course under a single standard for men and women.
She had so many amazing stories and accomplishments for us to talk about. I sometimes forgot she was actively competing in the Women's RX, pretty much right before and right after we interviewed her. She competed in 5 rounds that weekend and won all of them. And on top of that, she even used her real-life hero skills to solve the mystery of the missing coconuts.
She was all over everything that weekend. I've been impressed since the minute we sat down with her. We also dug into the details on Modballs, the 20-gram, 100-calorie energy balls, redefining the definition of clean energy. I ate about a bag of those over the course of the entire weekend, and I know they're fueling Shaylin in everything that she does. Jessie and I caught up with Shaylin on day 2 of Wodapalooza. Listen to our conversation with her from the stage in Miami on your favorite podcast platform. Watch the full video version with sunny Biscayne Bay behind us on YouTube. Learn more about Shaylin on Instagram at Shaylin_Laure. Follow Jessie on Instagram and Facebook at Jessie Graff PWR. Subscribe and follow at Jedburgh Podcast on all social media, and check out our website, jedburghpodcast.com. Once you're there, click the Modballs logo for $10 off your first order.
Welcome to the Jedburgh Podcast, everybody. Shaylin Laure, thank you for joining Jessie Graff and I. We're super excited to have you. We've been talking about this for, a couple of weeks now. And
my pleasure to be here.
So impressed with absolutely everything that you've been doing. 2-time world's fittest law enforcement officer. You have also won the 2022 Women's Veteran occupational title. And so, I figured as a veteran, maybe I would compete with you, but I'm not going to, all right? So you're going to take me on that one. Former infantry officer in the US Army, first female to win the honor graduate at the infantry officer basic course, one of the first real leaders, as a female in what was traditionally a male-dominated and male-only organization. And so coming from the infantry and special forces, I commend you on that, and it is truly an honor to sit here with you today.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, she's also an FBI agent. So nobody fuck around with her right now.
I mean, fuck around, find out.
So we're going to get into all of it, all right? So there's so many different places we can start, but we got to start with today. All right, so you already competed today. You won the Women's RX division for the first event. Tell us about it. What's going on? How's it going?
All right, it was 3 rounds of 24 chest to bar and then 12 dumbbell bench press with 50s. Those got heavy fast.
Yeah.
That was the divider, for sure. I think most of us went unbroken that first round and realized we messed up because no one stayed unbroken. So then we went straight into a 16-calorie echo bike, 12 bar-facing burpees, and then 24 snatches with 75 pounds.
But the chest to bar and the dumbbell were 4 sets, right?
3 rounds.
Three rounds.
Three rounds and then 1 set of everything else. So it got heavy quick. And then the cardio stimulus hit real hard with the bike. And by the end, I was hurting real bad. I was racing a girl down in lane 3. We both picked up the barbell at the same time with 4 snatches left. And I was able to get across the line maybe a half second before her. So,
So exciting.
yeah, I died, but it was worth it.
And you got one more event today,
Yes,
and then 2 each the next 2 days.
correct.
So talk about the strategy. What's the strategy? I mean, because you gotta put it all out there on each event, but at the same time, you gotta think about there's a lot of events.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, my strategy during the CrossFit competition, because you're trying to qualify for something, would be totally different. My strategy this weekend is to have fun and not give a fuck. So I drank last night, had some shots after I rode the mechanical bull, had a great time, and here we are.
And he still won.
Wow.
It was the vodka.
Yeah, definitely.
Or just that relaxed mentality allowed you to just put it all out there.
Yeah, I think my job puts into perspective competing, because both of them you get that adrenaline spike, right? But at work, if I do something, if I take a misstep, someone could die. Here, I can take last, and nothing in this world changes. No one's life is on the line. And it really puts it into perspective for me, because this is not where I need to be stressed. This is where I need to release the stress and have fun. And when I do get stressed and overwhelmed competing, it actually makes my life, it doesn't enhance my life. It makes my life more overwhelming. And that's not something I'm interested in. So it's been hard to learn how to shift my mindset from being a competitive athlete and trying to win every time to having fun and enhancing my life and being healthy. But that's what I'm doing this weekend, hence the vodka. And hopefully the rest of the weekend will be as fun as I had this morning.
Yeah. I find the same thing, that competition is one of my favorite ways to find that line of like, how far can I push when I'm in a tense moment without having the consequences? Like, if you are in a real life situation where someone could die and you are pushing with everything you have and you burn out too soon, those consequences are crazy. But in competition here, you can push that limit and completely burn out and pass out and be like, well, now I know where that line is. So like, it gives you that freedom to find out things that you need to know in a situation where lives are at stake.
Talk about the difference of this event with like CrossFit Games or some of the other competitions.
Yeah, so I've been to semifinals both of the last 2 years. My first year, I accidentally made it. I was not training for it whatsoever. I just happened to be fit enough to qualify, and I was like, well, shoot, like, I might as well go. So my mindset was, I'm going to go. I might take last, but, like, I'm here, and that was a win, just being there.
Yeah.
So that one was kind of like learning the ropes. It was my first ever individual competition. Not ideal, but I learned so much. I made so many friends. I had such a good time. And then last year at semis, my goal was to qualify for the games. So totally different mindset. I wasn't going out to dinner with people who had come to watch me. I was doing a flush, doing my mobility, recovering, getting to bed early. It was completely different. And my team took second at the MAC, and it was absolutely worth it. So this year, I'm going team again, which is a big announcement because I was going to go individual.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. My teammates are going to be Alexis Johnson, Brandon Luckett, and Logan Collins, and we're making a run for the podium at the games.
Awesome.
So that mindset from last year will be the same this year at semis and then again at the games. Making it to the games is not the win this year. Winning the games is the win. So totally different mindset from this weekend.
Yeah. Do you enjoy that mindset and the process of everything you have to do to maximize your performance?
I do, but I get burnt out if I do it all the time. So it's a big difference between off-season competition and in-season competition.
That's an important thing to be aware of.
let's take it back. All right, so you've been a gymnast, you played rugby, you've been in competitive sports your whole life, and then you came into CrossFit. Talk about that journey and what you learned from being in childhood sports that kind of prepared you and put that mindset, and then also that call to serve.
So I was really fortunate to have parents who, if I saw a sport and wanted to try it, they encouraged me and they let me. So I played a lot of different sports growing up. Soccer was my main one. I started when I was 3. I played all the way through high school. I made my college team. Did not like how the coach dealt with women, and he would promote the drama and the cliques instead of promoting the team. So I saw signs up for rugby. I was like, shoot, this looks like fun. I got a lot of yellow cards in soccer for being aggressive, so I thought rugby would be a great thing to try.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was the highlight of my college years, for sure. I played women's rugby after, all the way until I joined the military. And then obviously wasn't able to play in the military because you're so focused and busy on other things. But that's when I found CrossFit, was in the military. So it was my way to have like a competitive outlet and something to strive for with my workouts instead of just going to the gym and going through the motions.
Yeah, just to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to be the best at working out. You want to be the best at something.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to have a purpose when you're in the gym because it's going to make your workout so much more productive.
Oh, yeah. It changes everything. It changes your intention and how hard you push and goals. Love goals.
I want to talk about integration. Okay, and you brought up your soccer coach, and you didn't like the way that your soccer coach necessarily interacted with the women on the team. You bridged a very important and a very serious divide that really was a top-line topic of conversation for many senior people in the government, in the U.S. military, of how do we bring women into combat arms being infantry, field artillery, now special forces, where I come from. And that was polarizing. And you were one of the first on really the other side, man, certainly not involved in those conversations, but the one who the door opened to, and you walked through it. When you go into the military, as an officer, they give you the choice, right? They give you the list of 10. Okay, and you had, at least for me, they gave us a list of 10. And they said, you got to pick. So I don't know how it was for you, but I picked infantry. What'd you pick?
We had an order of merit list in officer candidate school. And our class was allotted a certain number of spots in each branch based on the Army's needs.
Yeah.
And the first person on the order of merit list got their first pick of all of them. And the last person got whatever was left.
Oh, wow.
That's true.
So the bottom 40% probably didn't get what they wanted. That middle 30% maybe got their second or third pick. If you weren't at the top of the list, you weren't going to get what you wanted. Our class only had 5 infantry spots, which is way fewer than usual. The top 5 people won infantry.
Wow.
So why? Why choose it?
So I was a local cop, and while I was a local cop, we would have these duty to warn lists that were put out, and ISIS had kill lists, and if there were people in your jurisdiction on a kill list, you had the duty to warn them that they were on it. I thought it was absolute bullshit that we were doing nothing other than warning them and being aware of like something suspicious going on around their house, because their name and their address would be on the list, which is obviously easy to find on the internet. They were doing it to terrorize people. It was effective. I could go to coffee break with my coworkers and I'd be like, okay, I have no political pull here, no money to influence this. There's literally nothing we can do other than be proactive and do our job. And for me, it wasn't enough in keeping my community safe, being reactive. I didn't like it. So I went and talked to a recruiter. At the time, infantry was not open to women, and it was support services. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'll keep doing this where I can make a bigger difference. I don't need to go support the people on the front lines. But when infantry opened to women, I went back and I enlisted. Because if I wasn't going to be on the front lines, I felt like I was making a bigger difference as a cop. And that was the only thing I wanted to do in the Army.
Wow. So how long had women been allowed into the infantry when you started? Was it pretty immediate?
I think I went the next day.
Oh my God. So cool. So had anyone made it through? No one had, of course, made it through day
So
two.
I believe Congress allowed women in December of 2015 because I was flying back from Utah because I helped my sister drive out there. And I was like, oh, well, tomorrow I know what I'm doing. They didn't put the first class of enlisted women through basic training for the infantry until June of 2016. But because I had my college degree and wanted to be an officer, I went through a different basic training that wasn't infantry because I wasn't branched yet. Had to go through OCS and then earn the branch.
Yeah.
And then I was maybe in the second or third I-Bullet class that had a female in it, which was, OCS was the beginning of 2017, so I went in April of 2017 to I-Bullet, but I joined in October of 2016 going through basic training in OCS.
So everybody who's getting ready to become a special operator, go to selection for whether it's going to be a Green Beret, Navy SEAL, you want to become an Army Ranger, you want to join the Air Force, become a pararescueman, right? They can come to you, hop on 18 Alpha Fitness app, and you're going to take them through some very specific workouts that are designed for each one of those training programs.
I always start off everybody day one of 18 Alpha Fitness is my push-up from hell. Spider-Man push-ups. So on a down position, your left knee comes to your left elbow. Right knee comes to your right elbow. Yeah. Next one is diamonds, everybody's favorite. And make sure you get that chest off that ground. All right, wide arm. Be on your knee. This is the knee one, but you're gonna go down and explode up.
You want to take it to the next level. You want to be one of America's best. Get on 18 Alpha Fitness. Check it out.
Talk about some of the challenges. You and I were talking earlier today. We spoke about it the other day, but not everybody who you had to deal with, whether they were a student or whether they were even the cadre and the instructors, were receptive to you being there.
Yeah, so I realized really quickly that I had chosen to do something where I was not going to get any support whatsoever. So when you're an officer candidate, you are branched. So I went with all the enlisted people to basic training, but my MOS was officer candidate. Everyone else has their MOS already, which would be like infantry, armor,
They
whatever.
changed that because when I went in 03, when you went to basic training, then you went to OCS, we already knew in basic training where we were going. And then when we went to OCS, as long as you didn't screw it up, you were going there.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, we went in our MOS as officer candidate, and then you get your branch when you earn it on the Order of Merit list at OCS. So everyone asked you as an officer candidate, well, what branch do you want? Like all the drill sergeants would ask that. And we were at the grenade pit throwing the one live grenade you do at basic training. And
Then you're qualified after that.
the sergeant is like, all right, so what branch do you want? And when I said infantry, he just laughed. There were no words. He was laughing so hard he almost cried.
Did he think you were joking, or was he just...
No, he was like, you're never going to make it.
Just he didn't think you would make it through the training.
Yeah.
'Cause
He didn't
women
think that
are held.
any woman could make it through infantry. I don't remember if his branch was infantry or not. It probably was. But and I went to OCS, and our staff sergeant, we had a captain and a staff sergeant as our cadre for our platoon. Our staff sergeant was infantry, and I was number 1 on our Order of Merit list going into our final platoon leader operation in the field.
Can I ask real quick, what did you have to do to be number 1 on the merit list?
So there were a lot of things that went into the score. One of them was your PT scores, your PT test, completing all the rucks.
Physical training? Is that
It's
PT?
the Army PT test that everyone takes.
Mm-hmm.
And then rucks, there were a bunch of written tests. We had a bunch of history courses on military history and a bunch of other military courses that are in a classroom and you take written tests for. So those scores went in.
They still wear the ascot?
Yes.
Yeah. that was so bad.
I still have mine.
Yeah, I also do. You have to. You can't get rid of it.
You can't get rid of it. Yeah.
You have to walk around with an ascot on your neck.
What is an ascot?
It's like a bandana type thing that goes around your neck, and then there's different colors, and it signifies what phase of the training that you're in.
Yeah.
So
karate belt.
Yeah, a similar concept. Yeah.
Except
so
you look like a prick. Like an elitist, right? And you have like this OCS patch in the middle of it, and everyone on Fort Benning knows who they are.
it's like walking around with a dunce cap on.
Yeah.
But at
all
least
day long.
everyone has a dunce cap on.
Only the
right?
people in your training class.
Oh. Okay, so not everyone. Okay.
And then they just know how to mess with you if you have one on, because there's certain things you have to do when you're in the course. But
Okay.
anyway,
And so how many people were in your class that you're having to be number one in?
I want to say there were like 90 of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about,
Does that
there's like,
sound about right
there's
for
like
an OCS
three.
class?
Yeah, there's like 3 platoons of 30 or 40, so
Yeah.
something like that.
How many of those were women, roughly?
In OCS, it was maybe like 20% females.
Okay. But so to be number one in those 90-ish people, you had to beat all the men
Yes.
in things that included physical training.
Yeah, so in OCS, you have your female score in the old Army fitness test. I think the new one
changed it.
No, it's gender neutral as it
Yeah.
should be. But when I went through, there was the female standard to pass and then the male standard to pass. So in OCS, it was not gender neutral. In infantry, it was.
Okay.
Now it's gender neutral, as it should be. But when I went through, I was not competing against the guys. Our PT test standard to get the same score was different. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Got it. And how is that different from where it is gender neutral? Why is it so important that women be held to the same physical standards in combat?
We have to ask you that question as well.
Okay.
The enemy doesn't care who they're fighting, right?
Yeah.
So you can either do what's required to keep you and your platoon safe in combat, or you can't. And no one cares if you're a male or a female. Like, you either meet that standard or you don't. With support services, it's the same thing. Can you do your job or can't you? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. Your 1 rep max snatch does not fucking matter. Can you carry the weight for the distance in an appropriate amount of time?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that if I were going into battle, I would want to know that every single person around me is fully capable of doing what they do to protect themselves, to help me if I'm in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the scores. The other score was leadership. So it's how you brief an op order. So you're the platoon leader. You're briefing we had squad and platoon at OCS. You're briefing your squad or you're briefing the platoon, and then you lead them through the operation. And there's Op 4, which is set up in defensive positions, and you're doing an assault or a raid or whatever it happens to be. So I was number 1 on the OML list going into that. The staff sergeant, who didn't believe women should be in the infantry, was my grader for my first lane, and you get 2 tries. He gave me 1 point above failing intentionally. He did not want me in the infantry, and he knew I was number 1.
And he
then
told you that.
No, it was very obvious. All of my platoon mates were like, that was one of the best lanes. Everyone knew it. It was so obvious. So then the captain graded my next lane and gave me 1 point below perfect. It was pretty much the same situation to get 2 polarized scores. And then at graduation, I ended up 5th on the OML, got that last infantry spot, and that staff sergeant told me he was going to laugh when I failed IBOLIC, which is your infantry basic officer leader course. It was my next course to be an infantry officer, to be branch qualified.
It's where they teach you how to be an infantry officer.
Correct. Because at this point, you're just a commissioned officer, not branch qualified. And he said this in front of the battalion commander and everyone. And I looked at him and I was like, Sergeant, I'm going to laugh when I'm the honor graduate. And that's what I did.
Nice.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's so interesting, and I mean, awful, but like running up against men who just really have no experience to understand what women are capable of. And it's so important for us to rise to that challenge, to be like, hey, look, we can do everything that you're asking for. We can excel and rise above many of the men. And if they don't see us doing that, like that's why what you did is so important, to show the world what we're capable of.
Yeah, everything you just said, absolutely. It was worth every bit of effort. I remember during OCS, rucking every Sunday morning, getting up, everyone else is sleeping in or whatever, and I would go for a ruck every single week because I knew IBOLIC is gender neutral standards. I have to carry the same weight, the same distance, and go faster than all the guys if I want to be the honor graduate. So
Yeah.
I was in the gym every second I got, and my platoon mates knew I was crazy. But you have to be a little bit crazy to do it. You have to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even in that situation where you've got someone who is dedicated to holding you back, dedicated to proving that you can't do it, and then even being at that disadvantage of like, we just don't have as much testosterone, and the extra work that you had to do to not just keep up with the men, because who's trying to make you look bad, you have to excel against above what a lot of the best guys are doing, and that is really hard.
How are you approaching that on Ninja Warrior, where you're facing this? Men and women are facing the same exact course.
I think that's what I love about it, because I love that opportunity to show the rest of the world what women are capable of. Like, we can be strong, we can conquer these obstacles. I do understand that it's going to take a lot more work for me to be as strong as them. It's going to take, I have to be more scientific. I have to understand exactly how many hours I need to fully recover before I go again, because I may not recover as quickly. I may not be able to do a super hard workout and then go play rock climbing and then go play on obstacles the next day. If I want to maximize my strength today, then I have to take the perfect amount of recovery and do all the foam rolling and everything. So I just have to be more disciplined and dedicated and scientific about all of my training, and then understanding exactly how to approach the obstacle in the most efficient way, because I'm not going to have the same pull-up and grip strength as the top ninja guy who is training as hard as I am. So how can I break down every detail of the physics to be as efficient as possible so that I can make up for any deficit in testosterone, basically?
Wow. I got nothing.
I mean, it's hard, but it's also so rewarding when people are, like, when women will come to me and be like, well, I was told that I couldn't build upper body strength because I was a woman. You know, I was in gym class and I couldn't climb the rope, and they were like, oh, that's okay, women can't do that. But for women who are adults to look at what we're doing and be like, oh my gosh, they told me it was physiologically not possible, so I didn't try. And then seeing their eyes open and be like, wait, I want to be able to do that. I want to be strong too. And like, that's where we can have this amazing impact that is so rewarding. But for you, like for me, I just get to share that message. But for you, you can take that and like save people's lives and change the world. And that's just like the next level of being a hero that is so amazing to me. You're welcome.
How are you finding balance today? Because you're competing at an elite level as an athlete. You're serving as an FBI agent, which is a grueling job on its own, and the requirements that come there. So how do you balance yourself between training and that workload?
There are a lot of training sessions I've had to run out the gym and say, can someone please clean up my equipment? I have to go to work. And we're always on call. My job comes first. I'm never going to get that call and be like, sorry guys, I have to finish this workout. In fact, a couple weeks ago, the last time it happened, I had a 5-interval workout with 4 minutes of rest in between them, and that 5th interval is the most important, and they called me after the 4th interval, and I had to leave. No. Like, shit. I, of course, left, but it presents challenges. I have to make sure I keep my priorities in check, that my job is more important than CrossFit. Being there for my partners is more important than my workout. But my partners also give me so much grace. They're so supportive. They are my family, and they treat me like I'm theirs. So I couldn't do it without them. I wouldn't want to do it without them, and I wouldn't do it without them. But it's certainly, I have no free time during the week. I'm training or I'm at work. And then on the weekends, I get like that little bit of downtime to like collect myself and prepare for the next week. I spend it with my dogs because they're my world. And having that as like my reset is the best thing ever. But I also have so much support at the gym. All my friends are from the gym. They're either my coworkers or they go to the gym. Like I don't have time to see people otherwise. they help with the dogs. They help me in every aspect of my training and recovery, and I couldn't do it without them either.
Is this working? Yeah. It's so amazing that you get to share that with people, because when you have such a crunch, making time to train and de-stress, have some time where you can center yourself. That's so many things.
Sort of.
That's so many things. But it's like you get to do the ultimate multitasking, where you get to have that connection and friendship with all of your people, and have that peace come at the same time as training your body, and that's so valuable.
We've been having a lot of discussions over the last couple of days about nutrition, because I'm sitting next to probably one of the most disciplined eaters I've ever met in my life, and I seem to have lost a lot of that discipline. But can you talk for a few minutes about, how do you approach nutrition, and how's that a big part of your training?
So I do count my macros. I use functional eating as my nutrition coach. And I learned I was severely under eating for how much I was performing. And as a woman, it's very intimidating to eat more food than all the guys, because I think I out-eat. All my coworkers are males, and I out-eat every single one of them. It's intimidating to eat more than them and to not feel self-conscious and think that, like, am I going to have love handles after this meal? You know what I mean? Like, I still have that struggle. Fortunately, my coach is awesome at working through that with me. I have Kenzie Riley as my programming coach with Misfit Athletics, and she is also awesome about that. I was like, Kenzie, I really want to do a cut. I think if I was 5 pounds lighter, I could be a faster runner. I'd be better at gymnastics. She's like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
Wrong.
You need to eat more, not less. And it's hard. And I hope that all of the women going through that struggle realize that the elite athletes struggle with that too. But I mostly eat whole foods. Mostly. I'm like an 80-20. Like 20%, I'm going to go enjoy life, because life's too short to skip the cookie every time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to eat the cookie, and I'm going to have a second cookie. And I'm going to enjoy every bite of it. And then I'm going to let it fuel my performance, instead of going to the gym and working off the cookie and like feeling like I have to earn it. It's my fuel to perform. Without that fuel, I can't do this. And it's just a mindset change that everyone still struggles with. But it's so important to be able to see it as fuel, and to choose things that are going to fuel your body appropriately most of the time, and then enjoy life the rest of the time.
Yeah. And Modballs has been a part of that.
Modballs are a godsend, because they are clean fuel. They have phenomenal ingredients, but it tastes like a candy bar.
It does.
So
I love them.
I'll pop one before bed when I have that sweet craving. I should probably just take them during my workout, but I do them all the time. And it takes care of that sweet craving, and I don't feel guilty about it. And I take it during my workouts, and it gives me fuel. It's an absolute godsend.
Yeah, and it's not a
Kale.
drink.
There's kale in it.
Yeah, they're all superfoods. The ingredients are really good.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause I think one of the big things too is, that you're not drinking an energy drink with Modballs. You're consuming it. It's real food. It's not processed, and they've been a big part of your training. And I think we're integrating them into the Jedburgh podcast. And I've been eating them all day.
There's spinach
Love
and
them.
broccoli and Brussels sprouts. Like, I can't taste that in here at all. Like, it does taste like a candy bar.
So those ones to me taste like an Almond Joy. They're my favorite. A lot of people like
the almond coconut chocolate.
Yeah, a lot of people like these peanut butter ones better. These are also delicious, and it tastes kind of like a no-bake cookie almost. That has like the chocolate and peanut butter in it. But man, the Almond Joy.
Go for the
Gives me-
almond joy. So
Go for both.
Definitely try both.
you can get Modballs if you use code JED, J-E-D, $10 off your first purchase. All right, and they have a booth back over there by the Army truck.
Or code SHOEFLY if you think I'm better looking.
Oh yeah. All right. So we're gonna have a competition now to see who sells more. All right. As we close out The Jedburghs in World War II had to do 3 things to be successful every day. They had to be able to shoot, they had to be able to move, they had to be able to communicate. Probably heard something like that before. But those were core foundational tasks. They were habits. If they focused on those, if they were proficient at those things, they wouldn't have to focus on them, and they could apply their effort and their intention to more complicated challenges that came their way every day. What are the 3 things that you do every day to set the conditions for success in your world? And I didn't load you up with that one before. I surprised you with it.
A good question.
And I bet it's extra hard having such up and down schedule where it's unpredictable. It makes it difficult to have that consistency.
So at this point in my season in life, I would say, if you're not having fun, what are you doing? Because life's too short. If you haven't told the people you love that you love them, what are you doing? And if you're not having fun, what are you doing? If you're having fun and you love what you're doing, everything else.
Have fun. Tell people you love them, and love what you're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
I love all 3 of those.
I do too. That we're doing it. I love that we're talking to you.
Thank you.
Super inspirational what you're doing, what you've done throughout your career, now in athletics now and in the past, what you did in the military, what you're doing for our country as you continue to serve the FBI. Continue the hard work, continue to set the example. We talk about leadership on the Jedburgh podcast. That's our most important thing. Leaders lead from the front. You're showing us that absolutely every single day. Thank you for everything you're doing. And we're back here tomorrow. Jessie and I are back tomorrow night, 5 p.m., and we have Julius Thomas, the 2-time Pro Bowl tight end from the Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos. So awesome conversation.
Yeah,
So
thanks
we'll see everybody
for
then.
joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
You're amazing.
American Jedburghs went out to form the foundation of the United States Special Forces and the Special Activities Director to the Central Intelligence Agency. Thanks for listening to the Jedburgh podcast. I'm your creator and host, Fran Racioppi. Join us next week for a new episode on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on YouTube for full episodes, highlights, and other behind-the-scenes content. If you like what you heard, give us a like and leave a review. Follow me, Fran Racioppi, Talent War Group, and our sponsor Jersey Mike Subs on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Send your comments and inquiries to media@talentwargroup.com. As a former member of Special Forces, the Jedburgh podcast donates a percentage of all proceeds to the Green Beret Foundation, supporting America's Special Forces and their families. Thanks for joining us on this episode. How you prepare today determines success tomorrow.